Belgium, King Manuel II of Portugal, and Tsar Ferdinand of Bulgaria. The kings were followed at a measured distance by 30 of Europe's princes, many of them relatives, such as the late king's nephew, Prince Charles Edward, Duke of Saxe-Coburg. Among them was the doomed heir of the Austro-Hungarian throne, whose name was yet to make its mark in history, Archduke Franz Ferdinand. The royal relations had come to pay their respects to the late king, and also to take their place among the princely superstars. Even without the great matriarch that united many of them by blood, in 1910 the British monarchy was important, standing at the pinnacle of society in the largest empire the world had ever seen. The British Empire's 11 million square miles spanned almost a quarter of the surface of the planet. Its 400 million subjects inhabited the subcontinent of India, the scorching deserts of Africa, the great forests of Canada, the distant outback of Australia, and even far-flung coral islands scattered across the Pacific Ocean. Britain's navy straddled the globe. Her ships, steel, cotton, textiles were sold across the world and fueled the teeming prosperity of the country. The heir to this extraordinary legacy, the late king's grandson, 15-year-old Prince Edward, recognized what he would later call the golden thread of his inheritance from his earliest years. He marched up the hill behind George V with his brother, 14-year-old Prince Albert, both princes dressed in their naval cadet uniforms and required to show a dignity beyond their years on that hot day in May. Even for the confident Prince Edward, it was all rather overpowering, bringing an awareness of the very public role that he would soon be required to fulfill. His mother, the new Queen Mary, considered her confident older son well placed to meet the expectations upon him. But his grandmother, Queen Alexandra, had her doubts, warning that he could dominate his brothers and sisters, laying down the law and thinking himself far superior to the younger ones. Prince Edward's dominance appeared to have had an effect on Prince Albert, who had failed to blossom in his older brother's shadow, and became shy and nervous, suffering from a debilitating stammer from the age of 8. Bertie, as he was known in the family, felt he compared unfavourably to Prince Edward, and developed an almost excessive admiration of his older brother, while he himself shrank from view. He took refuge in silence, knowing that any blighted attempt at speech might condemn him further. He would rather wait in a darkening room than face the daunting task of asking palace staff to light the gas lamps. His one sustaining comfort stemmed from his position as a second son. He was sure that he would always be able to avoid the limelight that shone so brightly on his older brother. On the day of his grandfather's funeral, he had the support of his younger brother and sister, Prince Henry and Princess Mary. George V and Queen Mary's youngest 2 sons, Prince George and Prince John, stayed away. The gun carriage passed by the floral tributes, which covered the grass outside the chapel. The royal procession followed behind at a stately pace, winding its way up the hill, past the round tower, into the courtyard, and slowly filled the chapel. The mourners could not know as they took their places in the inside that they were marking a watershed in history. This was the high tide of royal power, the last blazing show of era that had begun to fade. Many of those commanding dignitaries, lined up in the carved wooden pews that day, were poised on the threshold of momentous change. The words from the burial service rang out across the chapel, reminding those present that all eventually must come to dust. Within just a few years, this glittering company would be divided by war and revolution. 4 empires were destroyed, and several royal houses were thrown from their kingdoms. Kaiser Wilhelm II would abdicate his throne, his reputation demolished for the part he played in precipitating the First World War. Queen Victoria's favourite granddaughter, Alexandra, the Tsarina of Russia, and her husband, Tsar Nicholas,